Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
Well, as you have it, rain ruins the return of the Sunrisers Hyderabad after they had a nice long break of a week when they blew away the Lucknow Super Giants in their last home game. As it turns out, their break shall be extended. We did not get a single ball. The match has been abandoned against Gujarat Titans, just as it was a few days back when the Titans played their last home game against KKR. It's a bit of an anticlimax of an end for Shubman Gill, who had found some form in that game against CSK, could have at least finished on a bit of a high. But we look back at some storylines from the Titans and how that 1 point apiece would actually affect things in the race to the playoffs, where Sunrisers have now officially qualified and officially put an end to any improbable hopes that both Delhi Capitals and Lucknow Super Giants had. RCB CSK, if you didn't know already, is a virtual eliminator on Saturday. This is Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL. Just a quick chat on a few things, Titans, and looking ahead to the playoffs with Mitchell McClenaghan, Wasim, Jaffer, and ESPN Cricket Force, Dustin, Silgardo. If you're the Gujarat Titans, you almost feel for them. A damp season, without the use of the pun, and after two such formidable seasons entering into the IPL. But for Shubman Gill, I guess that's the first story, Wasim. Player who's not in the World Cup squad will be going as a travelling reserve, and what the future holds for GT and Shubman.
Well, if I'm at somebody who's making calls at GT, I would definitely get hold of him. Get hold of most of the Indian guys who did well. Sai Sudarshan is one of them. But Shubman is obviously my marquee player. Yeah. I'll get hold of him and I'll make my franchise around him. So I won't let him go. And obviously, like you said, couple of games where he came into form, got 100 in the game before that, and 2 rained-off games. So he would have liked to go to the World Cup as a reserve with few more runs under his belt. If anything happens, he's a straight walk-in anyway, but with some runs, it would have built his confidence a lot more.
Yeah, Varun dropped a few spicy nuggets yesterday on our show, didn't he, Varun?
Yeah, didn't he?
Stating that there are some franchises who are inquiring about Shubman Gill.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, why wouldn't you? I mean, he's a marketable face. He's done very well with GT, particularly the previous 2 seasons. We saw what he could do the other night. So he'd be a great addition to any side. So, I'm sure that the likes of Lucknow, I'm sure Punjab Kings would be sniffing around. There's a few others that I'm sure would love to have the services of him.
Yeah, I mean, we know now that with the big auction, there are no trades. So I don't know what the merit of a franchise inquiring is, because you have to go straight into the auction. Maybe that is the conversation right now, that try and convince the franchise to let you go, and we'll do everything we can to get you at the auction.
Well, I mean, it'll be in the players' hands whether they want to be retained or not.
That is true. Yeah.
So even if GT do want to retain Gill, it'll be up to him whether he wants to do that or go straight into the auction. And I think there are a lot of teams next year that will be looking for captains, looking for marquee Indian players. RCB may also be looking for a captain next season. So there's quite a few options for him. But I personally would like to see him stay at Titans.
Yeah.
I think he's grown there. Yeah. He's become attached to that franchise now. I would like to see him stay there.
Which is what we thought Hardik was. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. But no, they can certainly build around that. Disappointing season, but they've had 2 seasons that set very high standards. So that's where the Titans campaign comes to a close. So much for the Titans. Over to the Sunrisers. What does that point do? If we just have a quick look at the points table, it'll confirm qualification for Pat Cummins and SRH at 15 though, and a net run rate of 0.406 before this game. It was in their hands. If they beat Gujarat today and Punjab on Sunday afternoon, they would have got to 18, and that would have been with a better net run rate than Rajasthan Royals, and therefore they could have found place in qualifier 1. Crucial advantage, given you get 2 bites off it if you make qualifier number 1. Now that's just affected slightly. Rajasthan, who are on a 4-match losing streak, will play Kolkata, table toppers, in the evening game on Sunday, and if Rajasthan win that game, they can still get to 18. In some ways, does that dampen the spirit of SRH? They would have been up for today, wouldn't they?
I think they'll see it as a missed opportunity. I think they were in a really good position with the sides that they were playing, Gujarat out of the comp, then Punjab Kings as well. Both games at home, a venue that they've been destructive at this year. I think they'll see it as a massive missed opportunity to go straight to that number 2 spot and be in that first qualifier position or play that initial match. So a bit frustrating from their side, absolutely. Now they've just got to hope that RR keep continuing on that losing streak and KKR decide to really go out and send a message to the whole competition in that fixture on Sunday.
Yeah, we were discussing on KKR whether that break on Monday helped, and we said, yeah, it's been a tough schedule twice in 3 days, so it's a good day for the players to have a break. SRH Wasim on the other hand played on 8th of May. Now they've not had any cricket today. They'll play on Sunday, which will be the 19th, so 11-day break. Then suddenly you'll have to play 2 games in 3 days for the playoffs. They're a very momentum-driven team. Does this long break in any way, could it any way affect them negatively?
Hopefully not for them, because they've come out with a strong win. So I feel that will help them. This break will help their bowlers especially. But I think when you've won your last game so comfortably, sometimes that helps. When you're on that losing streak, it can affect you. So I think they won't mind that, considering they're going to play against Punjab and then the qualifiers, or maybe qualifier too, in not a big space of time. So I think they won't mind that. They'll be happy. I mean, in such a big tournament, you want a little bit of week or 10 days off, so they won't mind that.
I guess we worth reminding also that they don't have any problem with availability of key players, which every other team in the race for the playoffs does. KKR have lost Phil Salt, RR have lost Joss Butler, and between RCB and CSK, they're already without the services of Will Jacks and Moeen Ali respectively, possibly Pathirana too. So SRH on the other hand, they're strong overseas complement. They suddenly feel even better about that, don't they?
Yeah, massively. I know there was a few murmurings that teams were going to pull people out towards the end of the IPL. Before the auction, you would have had an indication, but I mean, it's almost good management in terms of how Daniel Vittori and his team went into that auction and just making sure that you pick players that are going to be available for the whole thing. And it's going to give them a significant advantage going into this top 4 because a lot of those other sides, as you say, are missing key players. KKR, no Phil Salt, no Joss Butler, like you say, Pathirana and that have all left. So, it's going to be huge. And if RCB get there, I think Will Jacks has been the impetus for them in terms of making that turnaround. So they're all missing key players.
Quick chat on the Gujarat Titans, which is something we had stored for today, but it's still a good chat to have for Titans fans going forward. Their batting has been a bit of a disappointment. They've been without the services of Pandya, of course, as well as Mohammad Shami. But as we just look at the Gujarat Titans batters this year with an average of 25 in between Mumbai and Punjab, both of whom have had a poor season. That's batting average and strike rate among the worst in the league as well. Yes, the conversation here is whether, if you have to rebuild, Wasim, you rightly said they'll rebuild around Gill. Do they go in looking for a lot of power hitting at the next auction?
They can do, yes. They've got 2 solid players in Sai Sudarshan and Shubman Gill. They can easily hold Tewatia. That is very rare Indian kind of player. Shah Rukh Khan could be one of them. He's somebody who you can look at. He's quite young as well. So those 2 power hitters can be there, but there's definitely something you can look at. Their number 4 has been problem this season. Their opening partnership has been a problem. So if they are looking at Sai Sudarshan and Shubman opening, then they have to find 3 and 4 who's going to bat there. Because this season they've asked David Miller to do that number 4 thing, which I feel is a little too early. He's better off at number 5. So that 3 and 4 is a problem, and they need somebody at 5 and 6 after Tewatia and Shah Rukh.
It'll be interesting to see what the retention rules are, because if it was like last time where you have the brackets, you might have a situation where both Shubman and Rashid Khan both want to be in the top bracket. And so that might leave then one less retention for GT if they have to do something like that. Put 2 players in the top bracket.
They did that with the last one, right? With Shami, with Hardik and Rashid.
With Hardik and Rashid, yeah. So then you'd have to decide. I'm guessing Sai Sudarshan would be the next player that they would retain.
Or a Mohammad Shami, if he's fit and available.
Yeah, or a Noor Ahmad. So they'll have to make those tough decisions and then decide which players to let go as well.
We're just having fun here. So if you look at what are the resources that could be available, because it's a team that didn't have 6 hitting ability, so to speak, amongst their top 4. Ridhiman Saha was tried, Vijay Shankar earlier in the season. They've gone through the likes of Abhinav Manohar. They played Matthew Wade. Kane Williamson got 1 game. But as far as the 6s hit goes, right through the phase of the 20 overs, they either rank bottom or second to bottom, which is a real concern. Now, Matthew Wade was an option we didn't get to see for a long time as a 3 or 4. It's not really, even though he's a bit of a versatile batter, he's not known for his number 3, number 4 batting. What kind of batter do you think fits perfectly well over there?
Yeah, I think it is an out-and-out hitter. I think you've got to look at the youngsters coming up who can also bowl a bit as well. So I think you've probably got to look at someone like Nitesh Reddy if he misses out on retention with SRH, or you're going to look at a Stoinis or someone like that if they get released as a overseas option for Lucknow. So there's going to be a few options out there. I think you've got to look for one of these young local finishers that's coming up now, your Ramandeeps, who can bowl a little bit, your Ashtotoshes, your Shashank Singhs, those types of players that can slot into that spot. But ideally, if you can bowl a couple of overs, like a Stoinis or like a Nitesh Reddy, I think that's key, because then you can play the extra batter.
I mean, how about Glenn Maxwell for Gujarat?
I wouldn't be putting my money on Glenn Maxwell.
Or I have another name, which is maybe Klaasen, because Sunrisers have so many players they need to retain. I mean, they might retain Head,
And they
Cummins,
need a keeper.
Abhishek.
They need a keeper.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm guessing Sunrisers will look to retain Klaasen, but again, it depends on the rules. If you have, say, Head and Cummins in your top, those are the two. Last time you could only have 2 overseas retentions. And if that's Head and Cummins, Klaasen goes into the auction.
Yeah, if Klaasen goes into the auction, they need a keeper. That is the other issue. They had to play Wade or make 2 changes. We don't know what Robin Mins will be for them next year. Doubt he'll be a
There'll be a lot of teams to go after Klaasen.
Yeah.
Or what they need to do as well, they need to actually go, Sai Sudarshan and Shubman Gill opened the batting together this year. And yes, they got hundreds each when they did that. But is that the best option? When Saha was opening the innings and getting off to a good start, they were a completely different side. He generated the strike rate. So do you start looking around and actually looking at guys like Glenn Phillips and say, hey, we might need you as a dasher at the top, or he can also cover the middle, or a Finn Allen, or those types of players? Because most of your genuine 200 strike rate plus players who could go like your Fraser McGurks, your Will Jacks, Travis Head, they're already all picked up.
Correct.
And they're probably likely to get retained.
Yeah, I mean, Phillips is a good one if he's also a keeper option as an outside one. Maybe they look at an overseas keeper.
That CSK, are they going to be able to keep hold of Conway?
Yeah.
He's a keeping option, but he's probably more like Sai Sudarshan and Shubman Gill in
you
terms
can
of
think of a lot of hitting keepers overseas established. You can think of Johnny Bairstow.
Yeah.
Bairstow might find his way to the auction. Quinton de Kock might also find his way to the auction. So
that's what they need. They need a genuine hitting opener, just to take some strike rate pressure off those guys and let their momentum fly off the back of that.
Or they can just ask Mitch who the next Jake Fraser McGurk is going to be. There'll be somebody coming up in the next auction.
I'll find you someone.
All right.
I mean,
Phone's always on.
you need to make your team mostly on the Indian players and then fill in the spots with the overseas. You can't go other way around.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're filling holes. Too many holes. But if you've got strong Indian players, then you can fill in with the overseas.
Which they do. They've got strong Indian players, don't they?
Yeah.
If you can find a way on holding on to Tawatia.
I mean, even if they do one of Tewati or Shahrukh and try and get
one
the
of
other
those
back
two,
at a cheaper price.
then you've got Gill and
it all depends on how many retentions, but you'd also think they'll go after the players they've had for a while. They might go after Mohit Sharma again. They could go after Sai Kishore again. So try and build a similar core of
Mumbai may need to release also some of their good Indian players, because there's Tilak Verma, Vadera, there's quite a few. So depending again on what the rules are, they might have to put some back into the auction. So.
Vadera would be a great option.
GT would love to take something back from MI
Yeah.
if they could at the auction. Right. On that note, that's all the time we've got. But a quick prediction on how this result might affect 1, 2 and 3. 1 we know is KKR. Do we see Sunrisers finishing well and Rajasthan not beating KKR? So SRH top 2, or does this result mean they will find themselves at the eliminator?
Well, now Weathers in the frame, it's hard to guarantee SRH will be top 2, but I think they will. I think if they get a game, they'll win it. They'll go top 2. Rajasthan will lose to KKR.
Okay, Wasim?
Yeah, I think so. I think, but saying that, KKR will be a little worried team if SRH is number 2.
Yeah,
because they're going to play qualifier. So that's going to be interesting.
I don't think Gautam Gambhir thinks like the Tottenham Hotspur club.
And also, and then it would be in Ahmedabad, KKR versus SRH, if that was qualifier 1.
Yeah.
And I think Sunrisers will really want to be in the top 2, because otherwise they have to play 2 games in Chennai, the second qualifier and the final. the eliminator will be in Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
And I think Sunrisers would rather just play one game in Ahmedabad and go to the final if they can. Yeah.
Well, you have to play one in Chennai anyway. I think that, let's see, if you play Chennai, that's the game that we wait for, but that's still in 2 days' time. For tomorrow, it's MI LSG. LSG will also see off their own campaign, so will Mumbai Indians. In fact, at 10:30, I think this is later than the last full game Sunrisers played, which finished in which was 29 and a half overs, and it finished before 10:30. All right, thank you very much. Mitch McClenaghan, Wasim Jaffer and Dustin Silgardo. Plenty much from them and the panel to come as we approach the last 4 days of the league stage. MILSG build up around the toss, assuming the weather in Mumbai stays good. We've had a little rain off late as well, but no such forecast for tomorrow. SRH have an afternoon game on Sunday where they play depleted Punjab Kings without the likes of Sam Curran and Johnny Bairstow, so they'll be looking good to at least get the job done and finish on a high. The Titans bow out, and that's all we've got time for. Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL. Do download the mobile app if you haven't already. The fastest scores when games happen, and so much more. Otherwise, you get the fastest updates, as you did today, from our ball-by-ball commentators on everything that went down in Hyderabad, which will host one more game. We will see you tomorrow.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.